Welcome, everybody, to the Sounds Like Liberty podcast. This is episode number 50 with the Launchpad Media, and as always, I am your host, Nikki P, here with my lovely wife and co-host, Lizzie. How we doing, baby?
We're doing. What's up?
You know, I got to get back to work. It's
I know.
It's a holiday, and I got to go back to
thing.
work. It is a thing. Is it because I work for Jews?
Well, you know, and there's all the
This isn't one of their holidays.
Holiday, right? Whose holiday is this exactly?
You know who it isn't? It's not a holiday for the American people.
There you go.
So we, I'm wondering if we've done this song before, but even if we have, tell us if our views have changed on it at all.
There you go.
So if you're diehard, you've listened to every episode, this may be a repeat because I don't feel like doing that research, having to get back to work. The Summertime Blues by Eddie Cochran. This was your idea, Liz.
Yep.
Okay.
Do you want me to jump in then?
Why don't you start us out?
All right. Well, I'm gonna raise a fuss. I'm gonna raise a holler about working all summer just trying to earn $1.
You know, if we're commies, we don't have to work. The work does itself, right?
No, that's not how that works. No.
You know, in the natural state of nature, food just puts itself in our bellies.
Nope.
Grows
Not
itself.
how that works.
Makes itself into bread.
Not at all. None of that. Nope.
Okay. Well, continue.
Still gotta work.
Continue.
Every time I call my baby, try to get a date, my boss says, "No, that son, you gotta work late." Sometimes I wonder, what am I gonna do? But there ain't no cure for the summertime blues.
Now, it's interesting. He doesn't have to. He can say, "Fuck you, I'm leaving," right?
Sure. There's nobody with a gun to his head saying you have to work for this guy. I mean,
unless he works for the military, in which case, you know, that is actually exactly what is going on.
Yeah, well, there is that.
Okay, you know, despite what some people might have you think, rent and someone loaning you a place to live is, you know, not theft.
No.
So, well, my mom and pop told me, "Son, you gotta make some money if you want to use the car to go riding next Sunday." So are his parents charging him, like, car rental fees?
I mean, I feel like this was back when parents just, you know, they did stuff like that because they felt like you needed to do things with your life.
I mean, responsibility certainly could go a long way in our culture.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I didn't go to work, told the boss I was sick. But you can't use the car because you didn't work a lick. Well, I mean, if that's the agreement that your parents gave you to utilize the thing that they were offering to let you utilize,
right,
and you failed to live up to your end of the bargain, kind of makes you a shitty person.
I mean, nobody's saying you can't walk on a date, I guess, if you want to be that guy.
Yeah. You know, you can do like they did in Half-Baked, where he's got that like $5 and he's just trying like hell to make it last as long as possible.
I see.
And they're tallying up the score at every part of the date. Just for the record, if I remember correctly, those prices would be fantastic to pay now.
Oh, God, yeah.
So, let's see you finish it out here. This is the part that I think I really enjoy, politically speaking.
I'm going to take 2 weeks, going to have a fine vacation. I'm going to take my problem to the United Nations. Why do they care?
Well, they care about everyone. Like, literally, they control our schools and all kinds of other stuff. Agenda 21.
Yeah.
Agenda 21. Agenda 21. I've never heard of that. What's that do? Google Agenda 21. I mean, it's cool he has time to take a vacation. Clearly, he's making enough money that he doesn't have to spend all of his time working. That's pretty cool.
I guess.
I don't know why, if he has the money for vacation, like, why does the United Nations care about that?
Right.
Other than, control. I love the next line.
Well, I called my congressman and he said, quote, "I'd like to help you, son, but you're too young to vote."
And isn't that about what government is?
Pretty much. As long as you keep me in power, I will give you enough to keep you quiet.
Well, I don't even know if that's that. I will give you the illusion that you might get something someday if you keep believing me. I think that it works to their strength that they never actually deliver.
Well, yeah, they're getting better at that part for sure.
So, what do you think? I want you to be the definitive one on this one.
Well, I mean, we pulled out some points in there, but I feel like this guy is not getting at that.
I think this guy.
I'm gonna go Bob Dylan on this one.
I'll allow it.
He seems like he's not taking any responsibility for any of his stuff.
I might have went Lou Bega on it, but you convinced me. If Lizzie thinks you're a commie, like, ooh boy.
I mean, why is it your congressman or the United Nations problem? I'm sorry, like, jeez, dude.
Yeah. Weird. So, anyways, folks, let's move along from some analysis into the I Heard This Happen section. Welcome to I Heard This Happen, the segment for aging hipsters. Each week we scour Bandcamp for underground new releases to wow your teenage children. So without further ado, here's new music. So, I gotta pull it up on my phone, Liz. Why don't you start with what you brought to the table this week?
Yeah, okay, that sounds awesome. I picked an album called Burst by an artist out of Spain. It is acoustic pop, and it really made me think of Paul Simon, just because there's a lot of instrumentation, and it's all awesome. And he goes in a lot of different stylistic directions. I mean, it's all pretty chill, and there is a lot of points that remind me of kind of that 70s easy listening. Like, not quite as cool and polished as like a Steely Dan, but somewhere in that wheelhouse. Like, if you played...
Did you use the word cool to talk about Steely Dan?
I think... Well, I'm nerdy anyway, but I like them. But... if you played, like, my favorite track on the record, which is, blanking on the name. It'll be in the show notes. But if you played that song and then you played, like, Sailing afterward, it would totally make sense as far as a style thing. Better's the name of the track. Ha.
Okay.
Yeah, so check it out. It's on Bandcamp.
Because that's where these songs come from, is the Bandcamp.
Yes, we like the Bandcamp.
So, well, this week I have I guess it's a mixtape or something. I get a little confused when dealing with hip-hop. But it's called Vestiges by Rav.
Nice.
R-A-V. It is a 20-track disc. Some of the tracks are a minute and a half long.
Oh, wow.
And it kind of gets all over the place stylistically. Like, it'll have moments where I'm like, feel like I'm listening to some straight nerdcore with like a little bit of a MC Chris vibe. And then there's those moments where like he gets down and deep, like it's Tribe Called Quest or something.
Oh, wow.
Like he really catches the groove. All the music and like the loops and whatnot are fantastic. I love the album cover.
Okay.
Like it's got mouths for eyes, and like it's, I don't know, blood or goo coming out of his orifices. Shit's hilarious.
Nice.
I really don't have a favorite song on it because like it's weird. Like none of them are long enough to really like, oh, that's the one like I keep going back to.
Yeah.
But they're all in a place where I'm okay to. They're all good. Like, it's just kind of a cool... It reminds me of the stuff I used to listen to with my buddy Tony back in college.
Nice.
So, yeah, if you're into hip-hop at all and you like to hear... It's very, very... He's got a lot of, I guess, voices, perhaps, to it. Like, he kind of goes all over the place. And that would be my only... It's both a feature and a criticism. I don't feel like he has his own voice, maybe.
Okay.
But... he definitely, has his thing. I guess you can start it out with "And That's Me" is a pretty tight track, and he kind of talks about not liking himself very much.
Oh, geez.
Having low self-esteem.
Right on.
So that's Vestiges by Rav. Go check it out, folks. Okay, so I've been sitting on this interview for so long, and I'm finally so excited to be releasing it.
I'm excited about
Literally,
it. It was super fun.
The first time I heard this lady on the Lions of Liberty podcast, I was like, we must talk to her.
Yeah.
Like, I was ripping my hair out, and it was going to be a mess. Just a terrible, terrible mess. I knew it.
And she was actually super cool.
She was talking about Taylor Swift being awesome, and she's all defending IP, and I'm like, what kind of libertarian is there that is in any way okay with either of those two things?
But you know what? She had some really solid arguments on top of all that.
I mean, you could say that. I disagree, I think, still.
Well, I mean, you're allowed to disagree, but she's at least, defended it and whatnot.
At any rate, this is going to be our interview with Chloe Anagnos. And wow, what a lot of fun it was. I cannot wait to have Chloe back on again. Plus, it was also fun to have two Chloes in the room.
Yeah, there's always that.
Lizzie doesn't let you know that that's actually her name.
Well, yeah, because people always want to ask me if it's spelled with a K, and I'm like, shh.
I don't know why you think people want to ask you that. I don't know enough.
Because I get asked that all the freaking time when they're like, oh, your name's Chloe, I didn't know. Oh, is it spelled with a K like a caramel?
No, why would it be like that? That's not how anyone has spelled that name until that stupid family.
Yes, well, they're famous, so there you go.
Are they? They really famous?
Yeah, ish.
Ugh, gross.
Anyway, it was an awesome interview, and I hope you enjoy it, because we sure did.
And one last aside before we get into it. If you guys haven't, go check out This Week in Liberpods or Free Market's Green Earth, two podcasts that I'm doing. One of them, which is a kind of a best of the week in podcasts. So it's pretty much there just to promote podcasts that we listen to and we like. And if you don't want to take the deep dive and listen to an entire new podcast, it'll kind of let you get your feet wet and take it for a test drive, so to speak. Free Market's Green Earth is actually an environmentalism podcast that me and Ben Pangy of the Homesteads and Homeschool podcast moved out of our members-only area and out into the real world because it was just too good to keep that stuff chained up. Every time we'd record, I'm like, oh, God, we need to get people listening to this.
Yep.
So go, give those a listen. Let us know what you think. In the meantime, this is our interview with Chloe Anagnos. Enjoy.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, I'm Chloe. How are you folks doing?
Very well.
We're being folksy.
I'm excited to meet another Chloe, because that's technically my first name.
Oh, wonderful.
And you
That's awesome.
spell it proper. It's not like with a K or anything.
Yeah, I try to keep it classy,
Right on.
So, welcome to Sounds Like Liberty, Chloe.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited.
That may be for the worst, for the best. I don't know. I'm excited.
I'm excited too.
I heard you on Mark Claire's Lions of Liberty, and I was immediately struck. I'm like, I need to interview this person.
Oh, thank you. I'm actually kind of upset because I made a sex joke and he cut it out. So.
Oh, well, I will never cut out sex jokes. In fact, the more of them, the better, as far as I'm concerned.
Much to my chagrin.
It was pretty funny. But whatever. Got to keep it PG apparently.
Right on.
Yeah, no, I have no concerns about PG, or I've said way worse than probably anything anyone could say on my show.
The unrated podcast.
I'm not saying we were talking about eating ass last episode or not, but.
Oh, God.
So. Anyways, yeah. So the thing was, I'm an opinionated music snob, and I heard somebody go to bat for Taylor Swift, and I was immediately fascinated and enamored with the person that would stick up for Taylor Swift, especially a libertarian. So this is going to be an interesting person that I have to crawl inside their head and see what's going on. That makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure.
So
I will always defend Tay Tay, except for some of the things that she said about like Marsha Blackburn. But we can get into that.
So, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Just because I haven't heard you do a whole lot of podcasting, and maybe it's just the circles I run in. So, other than Lions of Liberty, I haven't heard much from you. So, why don't you tell the people that we have here a little bit about you?
Sure. Well, it's funny that you say I'm not on a ton of podcasts because no one really asks me to be on a ton of podcasts, which is fine. Maybe there's a reason for it. But I am the publications manager for the American Institute for Economic Research. I have been in digital marketing, publications, communications, digital stuff, really for the last 5, 6, 7 years. I currently call Indianapolis/Elkhart, Indiana home, and spend the better part of my time traveling. I'm in and out of Indiana, Massachusetts, which is home to the AIER headquarters, which is super fun. And then I am also in and out of Europe a lot, especially the last few years. So I'm kind of a digital nomad, and it's just me and my laptop and a little suitcase. And I love to travel, hang out with friends, and talk about liberty, music, and a variety of other interests. That include golf and Taylor Swift concerts. And that's pretty much it.
Right
Nice.
on. I'm fascinated by it because she talks about Indianapolis, and the next thing I was, I want to get around Europe a little bit. And I'm like, Indianapolis isn't what I consider the most worldly place in the world. I don't imagine a jet set lifestyle.
Yeah, Indy is not, but it has really come a long way in the last 5 years, especially because of the tech scene that's really starting to boom here. Mm-hmm. When I moved, I went to Ball State, which is the Harvard of Muncie, Indiana. And I graduated in 2015, and then I moved to Indianapolis that summer for my first job. And there's a lot of bars, and there was a big bar scene and a big food scene. But really, when I want to say Exact Target was bought by Salesforce. I mean, who doesn't use Salesforce technology? Yeah. It really started to boom, and they actually took over the giant Chase Tower that was downtown. And so I want to say like 2 summers ago, they took the Chase sign down and put the Salesforce sign up.
Wow.
So I have a lot of friends, people I graduated from college, high school with, that now work at Salesforce. And it's really becoming a very tech-centered city. And even Amazon was looking at putting headquarter number 2 here in downtown Indy for a while. We made the short list. So it's a pretty neat place to be. The music scene is pretty good too. Not anything like in Austin, Texas or in Nashville, obviously. But you can still get a lot of really good folk country music at a lot of bars around here. So it's home. It's only a 2.5-hour shoot up the interstate to my parents' house, which is in Elkhart. I've got a lot of family in northern Indiana still. But yeah, Indy's pretty cool. Have you guys ever been?
I don't think I've ever been further west than the border of Ohio and whatever the next state is. And that was for work once.
I've definitely been
Everything west scares me.
Through Indiana. I don't think I've ever really stopped.
Like, I'm a hillbilly, not a Midwesterner. Those people are different.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people think that we're hillbillies here in Indiana, but we're definitely very, mid.
I can set them straight.
Yeah.
Hillbilly is a very different thing than a Midwesterner. I will.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I'll set them straight. If you send them to me, I'll talk to them.
Okay, perfect.
They can see what a hillbilly really is. Just for the record, I legit have people I went to high school with that did have sex with their cousins.
It's awkward.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I mean, it's legal in some states, right?
He didn't know it at the time. In fairness.
Okay. Well, yeah.
No. I found out after the fact. It was a mortifying day for my buddy.
That's rough.
Oh, poor guy.
And if that was the worst his life got, I would be very happy to tell you it was not.
Jeez.
Yeah, I mean, there's worse things like prison time,
Or coming home to your dad fucking your fiance.
Yeah,
there's that.
That would be rough. Yep.
Yeah, he had a rough. But just for the record, his ex-fiance is currently his stepmom. So there's that.
That's
Oh,
just
wow.
confusing. That whole family sounds confusing.
I mean, we had people, like drive your tractor to school day. That's probably as far as it went.
Oh, we definitely had that. That was fun. So anyways, obviously you're a big Taylor Swift fan. What other kind of music are you into? You talked about it a little bit on Lions of Liberty, and it seemed like you were kind of all over the map.
I really am. And I think that the biggest influences I've had in my music taste are, everything from classic rock to hip hop, R&B, gangster rap that I've really gotten into in the last 7-8 years. And then I also grew up listening to classical music. I'm a classically trained piano player and cellist.
Oh, cool.
That took up a lot of my time growing up. I was not only a golf nerd, but I was also a orchestra nerd as well. So I grew up competitively, playing piano and orchestra and cello. So
if she was Asian, Rivers Cuomo would have loved her. That's all I know. So
yeah, I had a lot of circles. It's very competitive. The classical music circuit, especially for high schoolers. And my high school, I want to say, all 4 years I was there, we went to state every year in competitive orchestra, and we're the top 8 in the state. 1 year we took 4th place, so that was pretty cool.
Cool.
But yeah, a lot of influences, and a lot of music I think has shaped my political identity as well. I write a lot for AIER and some other publications I have in the past about rap, hip hop, their messages against the state. And then also, Taylor Swift with property rights, and, just having a good business mind. So that's kind of where it all mixes and melts. I like you said, my tastes really are all over the place.
So given that you obviously get all over the planet and you have such disparate tastes, I'm curious if you have a favorite concert that you've ever been to.
Oh man, I have so many favorite concerts. I would probably say I go to a lot. I haven't been to as many in the past year just because I've been traveling a lot. But the best one that I don't think anything can top this. So I saw Coldplay in summer of 2016 at Soldier Field in Chicago.
Wow.
Soldier Field, that's where the Bears play, and it's the stadium, and there's no roof that goes over, like a retractable roof like we have here in Indianapolis. So it's all open, right? And it overlooks the city, it overlooks Lake Michigan, the pier. It's just gorgeous. Well, I was up there with my sister, and it started to rain a little bit, which, for a concert, it's not horrible. But then as the concert went, it started to really rain. And I mean, like, downpour. It was awful. And before that, we were kind of sitting in the parking lot waiting because, a lot of outdoor venues will cancel just because of, threats of lightning, thunder. They got to keep everybody safe. So basically, Coldplay said, hey, we're not going to have our opening acts come out. We're just going to play for our fans because, everybody drove or flew in to see Coldplay. I didn't really go to see their opening act, Yeah. So they get out there, they do the show. It's raining, but it's still awesome. Chris Martin, Coldplay, they're just fantastic. If you guys if you've never seen them, I highly suggest seeing Coldplay just because they put on such a great show with lights and props and floating balloons that are, bigger than the size of cows. I mean, it's just great. But then as the concert goes on, the stage manager pulls Chris Martin off and basically says, hey, it's raining really bad. There's threats of lightning. We got to keep everybody safe because we're so close to Lake Michigan. There's a really high chance that, people could get electrocuted. It's a big problem. So for safety, they're going to have to stop the show, which really sucked because, it's Coldplay and I had pretty good seats and was pumped to see them. So Chris Martin says, all right, hey, here's the deal. And he comes out and explains, I'm really sorry. We didn't expect for this to happen. and I usually don't cuss on podcasts, but I'm quoting Chris Martin, and he goes, "But fuck it, I'm going to do one more song." And the crowd is like going crazy, and it's super awesome. And they start playing A Sky Full of Stars, and it's got like this really fast beat. You're a sky full of stars. And as they're playing and as the beat starts dropping, the thunder and lightning in the background goes along to the beat of the music. Like you could not, I have no idea how, Mother Nature and music kind of collided. But it was the coolest thing. And of course, it's like pouring down rain. And so by the time we finally get back to my car, I mean, we're just completely soaked. But fortunately, I had a box of T-shirts that were going to the Goodwill in my trunk. So that's what we dried off with. I mean, it was so cool. And I still talk about that concert as being one of the best.
I mean, I never thought I would be so rapt listening to somebody talk about Chris Martin and Coldplay. So great storytelling on it.
I mean, I try, but at the same time, it's just one of those things where if you've ever been to a concert, and this is when I tell people, I go to at least 5, 6, 7, 8 shows a year. If you feel this connection with the audience and the band and are just happy to be alive, you've been at a good show. I was really hoping Chris just invited everybody to his hotel room, but I guess Soldier Field, probably too many people to fit in there. Yeah, there's a few 100,000.
Yeah, it'd be a little challenging.
Or they could have rented a little venue off to the side of the building, bring it inside.
Weird.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
VIPs only.
Not a problem because we've got that retractable roof.
There you go.
So, but whatever.
Yeah, no, that was interesting. Okay, what do you think, Liz? Where do we want to go to next?
Well, we could talk about music in our life, or did we already do that?
No, it's a really good question. So obviously you travel around a lot. Travel usually means for me audiobooks and listening to music. How does music fit into your life, especially being a musician yourself? I know with podcasts, it took up a lot of the real estate in my life that music used to. So I'm always fascinated.
Right. Well, something that is kind of difficult for me. So I also have, it's not perfect pitch, but it's relative pitch. So if you play a pitch to me, I can sing it back pretty much like right on key. Also, most of the time, if you play me a pitch, I can tell you what note it is without like looking at a keyboard. So not to be like a crazy music snob, but if I'm at a concert or if I'm even like at, like a high school musical or something and someone's just a little bit flat, I can't help but like cringe. And it gets me in trouble sometimes because I've been at like local theater productions. And, I'm not trying to be mean. Like I love supporting the arts and I love supporting local music. But if something is off, I'm gonna cringe, or I'm gonna say, oh, that was flat, or oh, that was sharp, or two steps up. It's just not quite on key. So sometimes that gets me in a lot of trouble. So I've gotten to the point where I can kind of control it a little bit. But when you grow up being competitive in, orchestra or choir or anything like that, it just kind of comes second nature.
Oh, yeah.
And it gets me in trouble. But then I also, and I've talked about this on podcasts before, when I do get invited. I'm a local director within the Miss America organization. So I have a local program that feeds into Miss Indiana. And then whoever wins my program, they go to Miss Indiana in June. Whoever wins that state competition goes to Miss America in September, October. And one really big part of that competition is talent. It's 50% of my girls' overall score. So something I spend a lot of time on with the two girls that I kind of mentor and coach is talent selections. And so I've gotten myself into this hole where I'm not like a stage mom, but I want my girls to win as much scholarship money as possible. So I'll kind of be that Mama Rose that's like, okay, that was flat. Nope, let's do it again. Run it a second time from the top. And it's a really fun way, one, for me to keep music in my life because I'm not in any type of local chamber orchestra or anything like that here in Indianapolis. I've looked into it. It's just a really big time commitment for me right now. But I love it's huge. I mean, anytime you're in some type of band or chamber orchestra, I mean, it's just a lot of time. A pit orchestra for a musical, I used to do that as well in high school and college. But I love being able to mentor young women, help them earn as much scholarship money as possible. And then that's also where my ear kind of gets me in trouble. I'll be sitting at preliminary competitions throughout the state, just supporting other local directors. But sometimes a girl will get up there and I'll hear a wrong note and I kind of have to that feeling when you get nervous or embarrassed for someone else and you try really hard to not let it show. That happens to me all the time. So that's a really fun way to keep music in my life. When I do travel though, I don't know why I have a really hard time listening to music on planes. And I think it's probably because it's always so loud or I'm always over an engine. So that's kind of difficult. But when I work, and I'm a remote worker, I've been really fortunate to be able to work remote the last 2-3 years. I'm constantly listening to Spotify. That's my streaming service of choice. So I'm constantly listening to new albums, trying to write ideas for articles about music that's coming up. And then the Grammys are also pretty big for me. Not that, the industry is the end all be all of taste and what's good. But it's always interesting to see what the professionals think. So that was pretty cool to watch this past year.
Nice.
That was definitely interesting.
I know it's just funny because there's a lot of kind of my girly guilty pleasures. I was talking to Nick about it before the conversation that you're kind of mentioning there. I used to be huge into pageants, and I actually
no way.
Yeah, I actually tried out for Miss Teen Ohio, and I got in. It was expensive. But
yeah, it can be. It really can be, for sure.
But yeah, no, that's super cool.
Yeah, I'm just fascinated by the idea that anyone is involved in those things because I really just have this very, very specific view of people who would be involved in pageants, and I imagine 400-pound mom. Basically, I just imagine Honey Boo Boo when I think of pageants.
That's just the entire segment of
she
people.
somehow managed to squeak out a hot daughter and is going to try and live vicariously through her.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I think the media doesn't do us really any favors. Because when you say pageantry, the first thing people think of is Honey Boo Boo or Toddlers and Tomorrows that used to run on TLC.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, and those are really
the sexualization of young children, things like that.
Yeah, there was a mom on that show. She dressed up. I mean, for a second, it was kind of funny, and then I was like, okay, this is not funny anymore. But she dressed her daughter up in the Pretty Woman costume.
Oh yeah, that's awkward.
And her kid was 2 or 3, and it's like, oh, what are you doing?
And I don't want to be a dick, but there's also a part of me that's so you talk about pageants, but then I listen to you on podcasts, and you sound way too smart to buy into any of that.
Well, she did say scholarship money,
I guess.
Right. So let me explain for folks who aren't as.
I was a cheerleader for the same reason, so I guess I can't complain. You do what you got to do.
Yeah, you do what you got to do to attend a 4-year university.
If you think there's money at the end of it, there's anything you can do.
There you go.
Oh, absolutely.
I guess maybe that's me saying I think you just sound too smart. So.
Well, and that's definitely a stereotype, unfortunately, for a lot of pageant girls is that they are dumb airheads who are just pretty and look good in an evening gown and a swimsuit. But the specific system that I competed in myself, and now that I volunteer the majority of my free time, is the Miss America organization. It was founded in 1921 as a scholarship organization for young women, and has really stood the test of time. And is the largest provider of scholarship dollars for young women between the ages of 13 to 24. So that's how I was able to graduate debt-free from Ball State, was because like I said, I was a classical musician. My my babysitter growing up, her mom, I didn't need a babysitter when I was like 13. Let me just clear that up. But her mom and my mom were friends, and she said, hey, I know Chloe does all of these piano competitions. We're having a new program. It's called Miss Elkhart's Outstanding Teen. It's a little sister program of the Miss America organization. And you serve your community through a year, and you raise money for the Children's Miracle Network. And you get to go to state, and you win $1,000 in scholarships that we hold on to you through the foundation until you're ready to go to college. Is that something she's interested in? And my parents were like, sure, what's another piano trophy? Why not? And so I did it, and I won, and I was hooked, absolutely hooked. And that's how I've just been able to make a lot of friends, raise a lot of money for causes that I care about. And now my goal is trying to help, because something else I write about too are student loans and how they are absolutely crushing millennials and Gen Z.
And they don't understand why.
And they don't understand why. But then I have about 30 girls a year who do my local program. And it's just a one-day program that determines, who I have through the year that ends up going to that state competition. And I explain, hey, we give out, we award about $2,500 in scholarships. This is book money. Even if you just do, 5 or 6 local programs a year and you pick up, $25, $50 here or there, that adds up. And Miss Indiana gives, I think our Miss Indiana gets a $10,000 scholarship and also a couple of different full rides, depending on what university she wants to go to.
I imagine that the state system probably wants to keep involved in that. Yeah. Like, hey, stay here. Don't go anywhere.
Yeah, stay here. Don't go anywhere. And even some of the runner-ups get a pretty good chunk of change, too. I want to say anyone in the top 10, I think this last year got like $3,000 or $4,000 off a semester at Trine University up in Angola. I mean, that's serious money.
Yeah.
And, they want well-rounded, well-spoken individuals who, not only go to their school or their university and make their university look good, but, they want really active alumni. So that's why they have, all of these partnerships with the Miss America organization.
Now,
fun fact, and my last point, because I could talk about this forever. The last 5 or 6 Miss Indiana Outstanding Teens that we've had, which is like the little sister program, have all gotten full rides to the University of Alabama, and that's where they are now. All 5 or 6 of them have gotten these full rides because they're a higher education partner and have said, oh, if you want a state title, sure, here's free tuition. It's insane.
I mean, not to denigrate, but it is Alabama.
Really?
Yeah, it's Alabama. I myself, being from Indiana, I actually am an Alabama fan. I have a lot of family in the Fort Morgan Gulf Shores area. But you want a 4-year education? Why not?
She's just really good at setting me up, Liz. That's all this is. Like she's. You want to be a co-host? Like, you feed me all the good stuff. Like, I get to be as quippy as I like.
It's ridiculous.
I'm always willing to provide digital services in exchange for scholarship money for my program. So we'll have to talk.
Well, so as you're talking about that actually, I'm struck with the question that it almost seems like libertarian would have to be a natural fit for anyone involved in that environment, because it's not exactly the most loved environment given the current state of perhaps the Me Too movement. Given that I'm sure most people look at it as just a horrible objectification of women.
And
do you find that be accurate?
A lot of people have, but I will say I've been involved since 2006. Mm-hmm. So I mean, I've been around a long time, and actually, the Miss America organization, about 9-10 months ago, came under new leadership. Gretchen Carlson, who was previously on Fox News, became our CEO and said, hey, we're tired of the stereotypes. We are a scholarship and service organization. We're getting rid of the swimsuit portion of the competition. So now it's only talent, a private interview with a panel of 5 judges. It's a 10-minute interview. Evening gown, and then a social impact statement that you have to make on stage that basically says, it's a 10-second soundbite that says, if I were to win this title, this is the social initiative cause that I would advocate for. Here's why it's important. So I think the Miss America program has done a really good job in trying to combat those stereotypes. But the problem is, and like, the Libertarian Party, a lot of people say, hey, there's always infighting. In an organization like this, there is everywhere. There's infighting everywhere, but there's especially a lot of infighting among the Miss America organization or MAO traditionalists who said, hey, swimsuit's important. We need to keep it, blah, 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 blah. How else are we going to be able to keep these girls motivated to stay fit and healthy?
And when you say that, I just say, how else are we going to parade young girls around wearing nothing?
It's BS. It's complete BS. And previously, the swimsuit portion of the competition, it was around 15%. I want to say like 3 or 4 years ago, and then they bumped it down to 10. And you have all of these people on social media who are arguing about keeping a 10% portion of the competition. None of these people were batting an eye when they knocked it from 15 to 10. So why are you saying that we need to keep it? This is stupid. And what a girl looks like in a swimsuit has absolutely nothing to do with how well spoken she is, how much awareness and funds she can raise for Riley's Children's Hospital, and how she can sing or entertain an audience on stage. So I was really happy with the changes because, like you said, I do have to not educate, but really inform folks about why I spend so much time mentoring young women, helping them get ready for the state competition. And a lot of people just see the very basic, oh, she's pretty in a swimsuit, she's pretty in an evening gown, she must be an airhead. And that's not the case.
Well, genetics tend to go where the genetics go, in my experience.
Oh, yeah.
In general, they're not airheads. I think that's more of a defense mechanism. You have to make them airheads because you don't want to live in a world where they got everything.
Right, and there are girls who fit those stereotypes, and depending on whatever system they're competing in, it'll go over really well with some judges, or it won't. But that's how it is with anything.
Oh yeah.
Anytime you have competition, if you fit that standard and that stereotype, some people might like it and some won't. So you never know what you're going to get.
Hey, how's it going? Nikki P here. Want to support the show or just give a big middle finger to Patreon? Consider stopping over to supportSLL.com. Members of the Freedom Choir get access to the private Facebook group and actual physical merch. Want access to the unedited raw interviews as they're recorded way before they're released? It's in there. Is that not enough? And you want membership to Freedom Song 365? It's in there. There's even monthly bonus swag for top tier supporters. So head on over to supportsll.com. Help Liz and I get to libertarian functions and even just cover the costs of making the show. If I'm not a good enough salesman, how about this?
Support my mom and dad and Sounds Like Liberty. Go to supportsll.com.
You heard her, folks. Join the Freedom Choir at supportsll.com.
All right, Liz.
Nice.
Does that bring us up to the soundtrack moment?
Yes.
Okay.
We talk about a moment that's tied to music, like a memory that's tied to music from your life. I mean, obviously you're a performer, so you probably have a lot of those.
That was maybe not the best way of it. Is there a moment in your life that is inextricably linked to a song or a style of music?
I mean, a bajillion.
Like the way that the crass way that I like to say it is, what's the song that was playing when you got laid for the first time? Because they say that's the last type of music that you care about. The minute you start getting laid, that's where your musical taste stops. No one's actually answered that question for the record, other than me. So.
Yeah, I don't know if I can answer that one necessarily, but I mean, anytime I hear "Sky Full of Stars" by Coldplay, I mean, it just takes me right back. It takes me right back. And then I was talking about this with my mom and my grandma yesterday. I bounced back and forth a lot between Indianapolis and my hometown. And on Thursdays, my mom and my grandma and we do water aerobics. and we were sitting, lifting the foam weights, and we were talking about just the craziest stuff my younger sister and I used to say when we were little. And something that always takes me back is sorry, you might have to cut that out. I just got a text message from one of my pageant girls. But something that always takes me back is one of John Mellencamp's albums that came out, I want to say in the early to mid 90s, and I can't remember exactly which album it was.
Didn't you say you graduated college in 2015?
Yeah, why?
How are you listening to John Mellencamp? It's like old people music.
Yeah, well, because
Coldplay, T Swift, I get. Mellencamp?
Oh,
he's still on the radio.
It was on the radio. That's what my parents constantly always had music on. Always had music. I mean, we had TV on, yeah, but I mean, it was constant music. My uncle was still in a band. I mean, music was just always a big part of everything. And like before CDs were popular, it was the cassette tapes that you'd have to like wind back around with a pencil to get back to.
What were your first cassette tapes? Do you remember?
Well, my first one was Spice World.
Nice.
And then my second one was that John Mellencamp tape that my dad would play. I mean, we played it over and over and over and over again. And my sister and I, and I'm going to have to look it up here, and I'll look it up for you guys because it's so funny, but we loved this one song. It was like track number 5 or 6. And we'd always say in the car, like, Dad, put number 6 on, because, we just know the number. We don't know the name. And my dad was so tired of it. And he was like, hey, we're not going to listen to this. And I was like maybe 6 or 7. My sister would have been, like 2 or 3 in preschool. And she got really pissed that my dad wouldn't play this song. And so she starts kicking the back of his seat in her car seat. And she's crying because she's so upset that he will not play this song. And she goes, Dad, just so you know, everyone in my class thinks you're gross. That is the biggest, meanest thing that anyone could think, is that, the class collectively at preschool thinks that my dad is gross because he will not play the John Mellencamp tape. We still laugh at, the stupid stuff my sister used to say from that car seat. And, anytime, because we just, I don't know, I think my dad just had it play all the time, oh, Dad, he's taking us to get ice cream, we're doing this. And my dad definitely influenced a lot of the music that we listened to growing up. Classic rock. I remember when the Beatles 1 album came out. It was, I think, in like 2000, maybe 2001, and it was that mix of all of their greatest hits. And I remember when he gave that to me, because, he burned a copy, but I just listened to it all the time.
It's the red album with a giant yellow 1 on it.
Giant yellow 1, yeah. And I mean, that CD was so scratched up because we would just play it all the time, and we have the drawer in our living room that has all the CDs in it. And, anytime one of those came out, I mean, Rolling Stones, Beatles, Elvis, we would just listen to absolutely everything.
Good Midwesterners, that's what that is.
Oh yeah, well,
American music, kind of though.
Good American music. Thrown in with my first concert was actually Lynyrd Skynyrd. So my mom's from Texas, so we listened to a lot of, I guess, a really niche subgenre of rock is Southern rock. So that's like your 38 Special, Lynyrd Skynyrd, and that was my first concert. It was pretty awesome. I've seen Lynyrd Skynyrd 3 or 4 times now, and they always put on a really good show. Granted, it's not the original singers. The only still, I think, original guy is whoever plays piano.
Yeah, Van Zant's been dead a while.
Yeah, he's been gone. So, it was Ronnie Van Zant, and then died in a plane crash. And then Donnie Van Zant took over his brother for a while. And he was like, I don't want to do this anymore. So now it's Johnny Van Zant, is the lead singer. And what's really cool about Lynyrd Skynyrd concerts is that when they play Simple Man, I'm a simple kind of man, they have the projected image is Donnie singing, and he and his brother go back and forth. Like they've been able to cut it so that they're singing it together. And it's just like the most melancholy but yet sweet thing at any of those concerts, you know, that they've been able to kind of play, you know, pay a little bit of tribute to him.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah, and it's different, and I don't really know, or I've never been to another show that does that, you know, so it's pretty cool.
All right, you wanna do the big question, Liz?
All right, so the big question would be, if you could have people go out and get 5 albums, just have them listen to them because they need to like have this music in their lives, which would they be and why?
5 albums.
They don't have to be your favorites, just the 5 off the top of your head. Mine change every 5 minutes.
Yeah, it probably would. Okay. First one, and this is my dad's answer. And like I said, and this is my answer too, but he and I share, my dad and I have a very, very close, he actually got really sick this past year, and he's better now. He's in remission. But I've been, you know, taking care of him, and oh gosh, I don't want to tear up, but you know, he's just really, really special and really sparks, you know, everything that I've ever loved about music. His number one, you know, if you had to take it, it would be How to Dismantle an Atomic Bomb by U2.
Nice.
Interesting choice.
Very good choice. That would be number 1. Number 2 probably would be Abbey Road by the Beatles. 3 would be probably Casey Musgrave's Golden Hour, that just won Album of the Year this year. I don't know if you guys have listened to Casey Musgraves much or know much of her music, but it's amazing.
I literally love Follow Your Arrow. I just love everything about that song. I haven't really gotten to most of her other songs, but yeah, I'm all about that one. So I'll have to dive a little deeper, maybe.
It's perfect. I just absolutely
country, right?
You know, a lot of people have said modern country, but I think it's more folky than it is anything else. But listen to that one if you guys get the chance, and let me know what you think, because I hear more hints of folk in it than I do country. But she's got that country poppy folk vibe.
Yeah,
so
I just think of it as pop. I mean,
yeah,
there's a little twang and you know that, but it's a pop song.
Okay.
Yeah, it definitely.
I feel like you'd hate it less if you just thought of it as pop, babe.
Okay. Maybe a valid conclusion.
So, okay, I've got How to Dismantle an Atomic Bomb, U2, Abbey Road, The Beatles, Casey Musgrave's Golden Hour, Folk Hop and Roll by Judah and the Lion. Do you guys listen to them at all?
I actually do like Judah and the Lion.
That album is awesome.
They're very interesting. They remind me of another band that I listen to, but like a not as aggressive version of them.
They also put on a really good show. If you ever get to see them in concert, I highly recommend it. Not to spoil all of it, but they do their own like folk rendition of Booty Work by T-Pain.
Nice.
And it's
You said my favorite word in the English language, which is T-Pain. So
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, T-Pain on the radio. I mean, it is the cutest thing. Someone has like a bootleg video of it.
Oh, I'll find it
on YouTube. It's really cool. The way that they like lead it into, they lead it into the rest of their music. So that's really good. And then, I got to go with probably the obvious, but Reputation by Taylor Swift. That'd be my last one. And, it changes, like you said, it would change every 5 minutes. But in this moment, that's the music that I would tell people to go on.
Is that her latest one?
Her latest one, yep, is Reputation.
I haven't listened to it yet.
Oh, you have to. Just have a bottle of wine, listen to it. But it's also important to kind of have the context, too, of her career, how, she is the goody two shoes in the music industry. She's been around since 2005, 2006. So, I mean, I will be 27 this summer, but I have grown up with her, and a lot of the music that she plays now and that she played when I was growing up, like, it's still relevant to my life. And another moment, and this is kind of embarrassing, but my sister has probably already told this story to a lot of people anyway. When I had graduated from college in summer 15, again, I went to Soldier Field and I saw her 1989 tour, and she played the song 15. I don't know if you know that one real well, but when you're 15 and somebody tells you they love you, that one. Mm-hmm. And so she's playing this song, and I'm sitting there like, I don't cry often, but I start crying, and, she's singing about, how the seasons of your life, they're going to change. And I'm just sitting there like, oh my gosh, I had just graduated from college. I was like in this job search. I'm growing up. And it's like, oh, she hit me like right in the feels. And she does that with Reputation too. So it's just kind of interesting how, there's like this younger generation that's starting to kind of grow up with Taylor Swift, and their first album that they'll really remember is Reputation. And when I went to her Reputation tour in Indianapolis, she broke out some of her older stuff about like getting heartbroken when you're in high school, and your first love and your first crush and how hard it is. And I was like scanning the audience, looking at these like 10 or 12-year-old girls who are just pissed because she's playing this music that they don't know. I wanted to go over to them and be like, hey, this is for me right now. I had my heart broken, before my senior year of prom. This is for me. I'm reliving it. You will have it.
I can imagine Chloe getting in some little girl's face. You listen to me, you little shit.
I kind of wanted to, but it's like, look, like, stop telling me your parents drove you up here, enjoy it while you can.
Right.
And don't like put the sign down, But, I think everybody has that music, you kind of joke about, when you get laid for the first time, what do you listen to? But it's like, when you grow up and you get your heart broken, there are records or songs that you listen to, when you're depressed, when you're really happy, what songs do you turn to, to pump yourself up and to let yourself kind of wallow.
Keep It on the Hush by Ludacris. That's my breakup song forever.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
So ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm a little bit older than you. I grew up through the Southern hip hop era, the Atlanta thing. So all of my favorite hip hop is just Ludacris and T-Pain, Good Mob, and all that.
Do you got any Outkast on that list?
Absolutely. Quimini is one of my favorite records.
Oh yes, I love. My 18 Millions. That's a good one.
My acoustic duo. We end the last thing we play on every set is we do Kanye West's "Can't Tell Me Nothing" into "Last Call" by Outkast as our finale every show.
Oh, that's awesome! Do you have that on YouTube or anything? I need to listen to that.
I don't know if we have that particular one on YouTube, but we have a bunch of stuff on YouTube. We predominantly do 90s and 2000s era hip hop and R&B because that's what we like. Lots of Boys to Men and stuff like that.
It's a good time.
Oh, that sounds like an awesome time. My sister's she plays piano and cello too, and I don't have a video. I'll have to find it. Maybe I do, but she does a rendition of Trap Queen on the piano, and it's real like slowed down and it's mellow, and it is the funniest thing. But she takes it so seriously, but it's a true art when you can take something from one genre and like slow it or remix it and change it into something totally different. I don't have that talent. I'm a very much like okay, I need the sheet music. Otherwise, I'm like not great at improv. But that's all she does. She just listens to chords and will just make stuff up, and it's pretty cool. But I'll have to find that because Trap Queen
sounds awesome.
She's my trap queen.
All right. Well, this is.
Sorry.
That's awesome.
You're good.
Right.
I'm debating on the time constraints on this because I was going to push you on IP because I think that's one of the things I was thinking about when you talked to
yeah,
Mark.
push me on it. I have time.
Well, so why don't you tell me a little bit about your position on IP? Because I'm both a musician and an anti-IP advocate.
Gotcha. So, it's hard. It's hard for me because a musician myself, although I don't play as much. I think deep down, I think that intellectual property laws are stupid. Like I think they're dumb. But I also have a hard time with folks who try to, take advantage, who try to take advantage, and also who don't see, an artist for what they're worth and don't value how difficult it is to make it in the music industry. Mm-hmm. So, for example, will I always go to bat for Taylor Swift? Her music's her music, and I guess it's her IP, but she's also worth millions. So, it's like, if not billions. So, like, for her, I'm probably not going to advocate as hard. But for like someone who's trying to like up and come in the music industry, and they write something that's amazing, and someone rips them off or rips off their chord or does whatever. Yeah, like I get it. It sucks. And I'm probably going to advocate for them a little bit more. I know that sounds really wishy-washy, but I've been kind of on the receiving end of that. I've had people like straight up in college take my papers and take some of my stuff and turn it into their own work, and they passed it off as their own stuff, which was really frustrating. So like to that sense, like, yeah, it's really frustrating. But when you look at people like Taylor Swift and Jay-Z who are worth billions, it's like, it's kind of whatever.
Well, this is where I would push back as a libertarian in me, is I would say. So, number one, have you ever known the little guy to win in a court case in general? If BMG decides that they want your song and there is a legal structure in place as it is now, BMG's winning it, you're going to lose your song. I don't care who you are. It's just what's going to happen because they've got enough money to take it through court that you can't do.
Exactly.
So if they want your song, it's your song. There's a Think Liberty, Killian Hobbs really got me thinking about a lot of this because he actually is kind of he's kind of thought out, I don't know if this is something he got from somebody else, but essentially a blockchain version of, like, a blockchain registry. Like, when you write a song, you upload it onto Spotify, that's your song. You're the one that got it up, it's yours. So when you release music, it's essentially watermarked in a system already that has recorded that you've done this, essentially. So anyone tries to come out and say, "Oh, I did this," well, it's already there that you did it.
That's interesting.
Like we're so used to thinking of this in the paradigm where the government has to be involved, to settle the disputes. Like, well, no. I mean, everything's got a digital paper trail now. Like, I uploaded it 3 years before you ever dreamed about it. So clearly, this is my thing. Not to mention that opens it up for like recourse between people. It's also because of you look at YouTube and the way that their algorithms kind of look at everything. It is very, very unlikely that it's very possible that we'll have technology where it just automatically scans for anything that's something that somebody else wrote and flags it. And then it could either get into smart contracts. It could even, it could get into who has rights to that song, whatever. On the whole, I also will say that just because you wrote a great song doesn't mean that once it's in the ether, and it's everybody's to a degree. I think that writing a song, while is a beautiful thing and some amazing songs have been written, at the end of the day, being a performer is probably the thing that's more valuable, because you have sales copy. If you can't be the one to sell it, then it doesn't make any damn bit of difference.
Exactly. And I'm glad you kind of pushed me on this, because I think for the longest time, I've always had kind of a wishy-washy position. Like, deep down, should government be involved in anything? No. Should we be in this kind of libertarian arena where, for example, if someone wants to republish one of my articles, that's fine. I don't care. Put it on your site, but give me the backlink and give me credit. And that's the thing where, you would think in this big, giant bajillion-dollar industry, people would do stuff like that. But like any other industry, there are snaky people and slimy people, and they won't do that.
Well, and for me, it always comes back to the, okay, so we set up this thing in law. If the likelihood of you winning the law is nil, then all it's there is to protect people with money. And
exactly.
I that's unconscionable to me. I'd rather it be an argument and it become a political spectacle between two people. I'd rather two people fight over ownership of something than it become whoever has the deepest pockets gets control of it.
Oh yeah, and even some of, and maybe we can talk about this another time when I have more time to kind of do a little bit more research. But the stipulations for music are so vague yet so specific sometimes. So, for example, when David Bowie and Queen, when they released Under Pressure, which is a phenomenal song, the beat goes do 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 boom boom do 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 do. And then Vanilla Ice, there was that whole lawsuit. He took the beat, but the beat, they tried to argue that it's the same thing and he didn't give credit or whatever. The beat is different. There's a downbeat. So instead of hearing do 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 do, there's in Vanilla Ice's do 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 do. He changes it, right?
Well, that's without even getting into the fact that it's for this one itty bitty section of the song, like, would completely be within fair use because of
exactly.
I mean, my big thing is what Marvin Gaye's family did to fucking Pharrell, and I get irate thinking about Marvin Gaye's kids taking what's his name there, Liz?
Alan Thicke's kids. Robin
Thicke and Pharrell. The song is nothing like the original, or like Marvin Gaye's song that they say they ripped off, and they brought in some musicologist. Oh no, this is totally the same song. You can listen to the song and they're not the same. Yes, is it paying homage to the song? Absolutely, but homage is not the same thing, and Marvin Gaye now gets a writing credit on the song. He had no business, no part in. Doesn't sound like it. Like, it doesn't sound like the same song. Like, nothing is the same, but he gets a writing credit on it.
Exactly, and that's where, like you said, it's people with big pockets who want to fight for their piece of the pie that they have no entitlement to. Whereas with Taylor Swift, I go to bat for her when she stood up to Apple and said, "No, you're going to pay me to stream my music. Don't screw me over here," which is completely different than someone coming to Taylor Swift and saying, "Oh, well, this sounds like my song. Give me a writing credit." That's a little bit different, but at the same time, there's only so many musical combinations that can be made. I mean, it's like 2019. I don't want to say we're getting close, but there is a science to this art, and what's considered fair use and what's considered vague and what's considered, not vague in the law and IP law is ridiculous. But I mean, I can give a bajillion examples about people trying to say, "Oh, well, this is the same as this," and me having relative pitch, I'm like, no, it is not. Yeah. Drop the sheet music and I will circle, in the voices where it's wrong.
I mean, for me, in the Vanilla Ice case, like, the most important part of the song is that bass, that synth bass, boom, 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 boom.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Like, that's the song. Him using that riff, like, for a break to go "Ice Ice Baby," it's like probably the least important part of that song.
It is, but yet he lost.
I know. That's the part that gets me. He
Money.
totally lost. Well, no, exactly.
Yeah.
They have deeper pockets.
And that's for anyone out there who thinks that libertarians are just here to protect the wealthy. No, fuck that. I think I'm a libertarian because fuck the wealthy. I think they've used the law to protect themselves for too goddamn long.
Here.
So,
No one consults me on anything.
I know, right?
anyways,
Put
so
me up on the stand, I would go to bat for Vanilla Ice, but whatever.
I'd fight somebody over that Marvin Gaye thing. I watched it happen in real time. I remember the day the verdict came down. I'm sitting throwing things in my work vehicle. It was a wreck. All right. Well, you got any last minute plugs you'd like to throw out at us?
Last minute plugs. If folks want to reach out, I'm just at Chloe Anagnos, Anagnos on Twitter, Instagram. I'm on Facebook.
I can vouch. She's very approachable as well.
Thank you. I mean, I try to keep it real.
She's got that picture like she's a model on her page. I was a little like, I don't know that I should talk. Like, is she like?
That's an old
is she hoi polloi? Like, what is this?
No, I'm just dime store cowgirl. Casey Musgraves reference from Indiana. I love talking about music. I love talking about libertarianism. The stuff that I'm writing. If folks ever want to hit me up to be on their podcast, wink, wink, I'm more than happy to. If folks have article ideas too, if stuff's going on in their community that government's trying to screw them over, I always want to hear about it. So yeah, please feel free to reach out to me. My email is just my first and last name, chloeanagnos@gmail.com. But I'm, real proud of the work I'm doing over at AIER. We have a ton of books out now that I've been able to help publish, get together, design. That's been real fun. Love the work that AIER is doing. But yeah, follow me on the Facebooks, on the internets, and thank you guys for having me. I hope you have me back on because I would love to talk about this whole R. Kelly thing that we haven't even got.
Oh, don't even get me started. You book that. It'll happen.
All right. Yeah,
Okay.
totally.
Exactly.
I almost, and this is for next time, but I'm working on an article about how when I was at the America's Future Foundation retreat this past weekend in Colorado, I run the Indianapolis chapter of AF here. I almost got kicked out of a bar because of free speech and R. Kelly. So an article is coming, but we will have to talk about it.
It has altered how I'm allowed to perform because R. Kelly has factored into my sets in a big way for a number of years, and I'm no longer allowed to play my R. Kelly material that I love playing so much.
There you
Oh,
go.
whatever. That's frustrating. Okay, we'll talk about it.
Yeah, that's going down.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for coming on, Chloe. It was a great conversation. You have a good day.
Yeah, absolutely. No, thank you guys. And if there's anything ever that's going on that you want me to pitch, send out on the internet, let me know. I'm happy to do it. This was great.
Sweet. All right.
Climb to your rolling, work till your heart can't